What is up, folks? Welcome to the HiTech Podcast. Another week of high-tech hijinks, fun, craziness, I don't know, stunts. Maybe that's a new thing that we start doing. I don't know. I was just trying to...
Is this Fall Guy?
I was trying, great movie, by the way. I rewatched it the other day. Anyway, sorry, before we jump into that, I'm Josh, one of the hosts of the HiTech Podcast, and that other voice was my AI companion, Will. No, I'm just joking. That's a
Hello
callback
there.
from last episode. Wait, AI Will sounds like that? Is that AI Will?
Sure.
I don't.
You just gotta throw some depth into your voice.
I don't like AI Will. AI Will's creepy.
What's the matter, Josh?
I like regular Will.
Are you okay,
This is
Josh?
terrible. You sound like a weird Eeyore version of Will. That's like. Anyway, that voice that's supposed to sound different is Will, my co-host of the HiTech Podcast. We are wearing the same shirts we wore last week, and that's not a coincidence. We're recording at the same night. We do change clothes. I just would like to articulate.
Sometimes.
I'd like to articulate that for those who are watching the video. For those listening to the audio, like we say almost every week, why? You know what I mean? Just, there's a video version. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go check that out.
Go to YouTube.
Especially for this episode,
Spotify.
or else you just hear me describing things I'm showing.
That's gonna be wild.
The most
Wildly
exciting.
boring.
It's a new version of what is it? ASMR, whatever it is.
ASMR.
Yeah, it's a new version of it. It's where you just describe interfaces. That's the that's the vibe. Anyway, the HiTech Podcast. We got some fun stuff going on this week, but before we do that, just a reminder, if you listen to the HiTech Podcast and you like us, even if you don't like us, you can still do this. Go to social media. You can find us on all socials at HiTech Podcast or at HiTech Pod. You guess, you search. It's a fun game. Go do it, okay? At HiTech Podcast or at HiTech Pod. Make sure to go follow, like, subscribe, click the bell. I don't know, join the cult. Whatever it needs to...
Listeners, do not listen to Josh. He is not on track today.
It's great. Anyway, you can find us on all the socials in either of those areas. Also, if you'd like to email us to be on the podcast, you want to come join, you want to talk to us about something, you have an idea, you have a thought, you think Will and I were wrong about something, you'd like to tell us, you don't like that I just said cult, whatever you'd like to say, you can email us at inbox@hitechpod.us. Will answer you. I won't. It's that simple. It's not because It's not because I don't like you. It's just because Will manages the email, and that's basically the reason. Anyway, you can also find us on our website at hitechpod.us, where we have an episode page. We leave fun links to things every day. Sometimes random pictures of Will. That's not true. We don't do that. Or do I? Have I been doing that for months and Will has no idea? This is a great question. And now
this does make me want to go check all the episode pages.
Now Will's going to go to the podcast webpage and make sure
makes me a little concerned.
I'm not been posting things. No, you'll find cool information there, especially when we reveal tools and things like that. We'll provide you links to access them. You can also find all of our affiliates on our website and go check them out as well on the hitechpod.us website. Okay, that's all the fun stuff.
Easy.
What are we here to talk about this week, Will? That's the real question.
Something we've never talked about ever before. In fact, it's so brand new, folks have never even heard of it. It's like we made this. This is our thing. We've made an app. It's going out there to the world. It's honestly, I think
you got mad at me for saying we're a cult. You're just like lying.
No, I'm setting a story.
One thing could get us sued. I think yours is more likely to get us sued than mine is. If history says anything, it takes a while before a cult gets sued.
This is a parody. You can't sue me for a parody.
Okay, that's fine. So cults, but we'll avoid that entirely. That's fine.
Nice. Well,
we didn't build this. I think in all transparency, okay, Will's going to another country, okay, and we had planned really well before that point, and then something fell apart. I think it was that we were planning on interviewing a guest, and we couldn't line up that guest because of just schedules. That guest may still appear on the podcast, but we just couldn't figure it out in the last couple months. And so we realized we were an episode short. And we just spent the entire last episode talking about how we kept episodes every week for over 200 episodes. for 4 years. So we felt like we really had to keep this. So this is all to tell you that, like, if our other topics feel half-baked, boy, are you in for a ride. No, I'm just joking. We were looking
some soggy bottoms in this episode.
Yeah, we were looking for something fun to talk about in this podcast. And we figured it would be something that's easy for the two of us to talk about is Notion. We talk about Notion all the time in the podcast. I have a problem. I understand. Blah, 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 blah. It's fine.
He has a problem and a solution.
It's not my fault that Notion is significantly better than Microsoft Word. Okay? It's not my fault. Okay? Go talk to Microsoft. Anyway. So we really like Notion. Well, Notion just recently released what they're calling Notion 3.0. They released a whole bunch of features, and I think it's worth talking about on the podcast because there's some stuff in here that really ties to other stuff we've talked about in the podcast, and quite frankly, I've been thoroughly impressed at the level of what you can do with it in Notion. I've always been a fan of Notion AI specifically because I really like using it in my own Notion area, but they finally did a handful of things that like really felt like that step up into agentic assistant AI in a way that I like really feel like I'm using it at a daily basis because I live in Notion to track all my personal tasks and all my knowledge and all of that stuff. Because I have banked everything into that Notion space, I now finally have the AI tool that I need that now has access to literally everything I have inside Notion. And I've been kind of mind blown with how much I've been using this tool already. And then there's just been some other like quality of life features that have happened since Will and I have talked about my personal Notion management systems and the way I use them that I think is worth mentioning, that I think I've really enjoyed over the last couple weeks as I have implemented them. And yeah, I think it's worth noting for somebody who's looking for something like Notion.
It's practically a talent show for Josh, and the pet that he brought to show to the rest of the class is Notion.
This is my fifth attempt at getting Will to actually use Notion on a daily basis. There are two people in my life. It's Will and Eric, who I work with, that like they keep, you keep telling me things you guys want, and it's here. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just right here, and you're always like, yeah,
just join me.
Like this is the thing they do every time. It's a whole thing. So I just use the podcast as a platform to convince Will to move to Notion. That's really all the podcast is. So we felt like this would be easy. We're also going to have some fun with it. We're going to try to do something we did a couple episodes ago in a different AI tool. We're going to try it here because we think it'd be fun. And Will, feel free to ask questions, give thoughts, or just actively move yourself over to Notion while we're doing the episode. Whatever you prefer.
I thought you were going to say something like actively move yourself out of this episode. I was like, all right,
well,
fine.
No. I don't want you to move out of the episode. You need to be paying attention. I mean, this is like a clear,
I'm here.
A clear thing. Okay, so anyway, let's before I share this, let's backtrack a little bit of history, right? So, for those of you who don't know and you haven't listened to the past episodes where we talk about it, I don't have the episode numbers off the top of my head. Maybe we'll effortlessly find them at some point, but I don't know. Probably not, because we really don't remember what we've called these episodes. There have been multiple episodes where I have talked about Notion, specifically how I use it for personal like time management and task management and kind of just life management. I'm a very type A personality, and I need structure I've discovered over the years of life that I need structure to my life. I am not good at just remembering to do things. I really think what this is, Will, like I've been thinking about this a lot as Sam and I have been talking more about like personalities and things, is like, whatever the opposite of ADHD is it attention over attention disorder? I don't know.
Instead of a deficit, you're saying you have too much attention.
I have too much? Like, is that a thing? I don't know. There's got to be something for this. Hyperfixation.
I think you should talk to a counselor or a doctor about it. I have no idea.
I'm looking for you to answer all my questions. I become like very focused on things. Okay.
Yeah.
That is not a struggle for me. A struggle for me is remembering things that are not in my focus at that exact moment. Okay. Right. That's the problem. Right. And as people who are my friends, this is why Will's not nodding his head. Yes. Well, no, it's not because I don't like you. It's because I've just gotten so focused that I forget to respond to you. Like that's my thing.
I don't have any problem. I'm just looking at this for 10 hours straight.
Like is fine. There's downsides with my method too. Okay, so one of those is I forget if I don't plan out to do something, it's not going to happen. That's just the reality. So I need a system that helps me keep track of that stuff, and so Notion over the time became that system for me. I think the big thing that Will and I've talked about and how I use it is that the game changer that brought me over to Notion was realizing I could kind of like create a central place for all of my tasks and reminders and have like a dashboard that just brings up all that stuff. So I don't need to remember where to find it. It's just there are parameters that I have set, and if it meets those parameters, it comes up onto my dashboard. Like that's kind of the vibe that it started with. And then I used some other techniques to start as I got more intentional about planning ahead and kind of managing my workload so I wasn't getting overloaded each week. I started creating some more systems for how to kind of like plan ahead and do some kind of like weekly planning. Will and I've talked about it on the podcast before. Like a productivity effort is kind of like blocking out your week and figuring out when you're going to get certain things done and doing that type of stuff. So that's why Notion's become my thing. 3.0, they've added a lot of really cool features, though, that I think take it to the next level, and I think is really interesting. So I want to share a couple of those things today. So that's what we're going to do. There we go. There's the vision into Josh's weird brain. Okay, so this is my Notion dashboard. I've went over a lot of this in other episodes, so I'm not going to go through all the details of the actual Notion dashboard, but just a couple fun new things, Will, that I think you really should know about.
New toys.
Like new toys, okay? What's this little blue chart? Has anybody ever wanted to know how many tasks they have on each day at any given moment? Am I the only person who has this problem, Will? Like, do you not care about this information?
I'd like to know it retroactively, but I think it would like tweak me out to know the future.
Well, like, okay, can I ask you a question? How do you plan, like, ahead in your weeks? Like, let me ask you a question. Somebody comes to you and asks you, can you do this next Friday? How do you answer the question whether or not you can do it next Friday? Or is the answer just yes? And then you deal with the repercussions. Is that the...
So, I'm feeling a little bit of judgment.
I'm not judging you. I'm just like, I'm asking. I don't know.
Is this a safe space? Like, I'm not sure... I don't quite have a notion of what you're asking me, but no, yeah. If somebody asks me if there's something I can get done, and they are coming saying like soon, right? They like, could you get it done today, this week, whatever? I go to my calendar because my calendar is pretty well time blocked for meetings and big projects. Like if I need to spend 2 to 4 hours on a task, I put that on my calendar in the future, so I'll know like, oh, they want it done by next Friday. Okay, I have these 6 meetings this day, or these 2 days. I've got these meetings for those, and then I've got this project on that day and this project. Like I could fit it in on this day, but it's not a great system. It's just
well, I mean that's not bad. I mean like
something.
So like how far out does that give you the capability to plan ahead? Like if you're planning a project.
A week or 2 weeks at the most is as far as that calendar gets me. Right.
I was just curious. Okay.
Yeah, cool. And I'll say, because nobody's coming to me and asking me, hey, what can you do next quarter? Or what could you do next? No, I have never had someone ask me.
These are different
if I could do work that far ahead.
It's okay.
It's not okay. No, trust me. It's not. I'm not okay.
I was just curious, okay? Like, and I will admit, this is partially just the way my brain works. I don't like putting things in the actual calendar. I tried that for a long time, and it always just annoyed the crap out of me because it was like, I didn't want to put mental effort in 2 weeks out, figuring out where in the block a thing was going to go, because the second something new shows up that I need to change, I now needed to change those blocks. Right. And maybe that's not how you handle that. I mean, a lot of people handle it differently. And I want to make sure I say something. Will's method is not... I'm not criticizing Will's method. Your method works for you, as far as I can tell, that we've talked. And like the... and other people do... Other people don't have those processes either. Right. So you're like already a step ahead. For me, that's just always annoyed me, doing the calendar thing. It's just never been...
I live and die by my calendar on a personal and professional level, right? Like... My life and personal calendar looks like Josh's dashboard. Not with all the features and graphs and stuff, but like The amount of quantity Josh has on his Notion dashboard is the quantity of items that are on my personal calendar. And I have a calendar with Marissa, Marissa's calendar, my work calendar, a calendar for her work things if she puts them on there. We subscribe to a family calendar that includes all of my in-laws and anything that they're doing. Like,
yeah.
So
that's too many calendars for me. That's a calendar section.
And there's the
right
Phillies
there.
calendar. Then there's the holiday calendar.
Obviously, I mean, I have a Phillies area in Notion because I'm super into sports.
Show it to me. Show it to me right now.
I can't. It's in progress.
Password protected.
It's password protected. Yeah, it's not public. I can't show it. So anyway, the reason I asked this is like for me, I've always wanted something where I can just see at a glance. I don't have to block out everything per day, but I can see number. For me, number is what matters. I've kind of gotten down to a system now where I can kind of know basically if it's between 10 to 13 tasks ahead of time. Like that day can't go beyond that. Like that's kind of the thing. In general, I mean, it depends on the day, but like I'm working out some other techniques for dealing with this problem for myself. But what this basically shows me is this chart is awesome. It shows me the number of tasks I have every single day for the next 3 weeks, which is super helpful for me. So basically, like when I'm planning out my week, I'm looking at numbers of tasks per day. And then down here, I open this timeline planning view that just shows me my timeline for the day, for the week. And I just look at this, and I kind of basically just keep this up at the top, and I move stuff around when I'm planning out my week. Like if this task needs to go to a different week, I move things out. And then these numbers change as I'm planning out weeks. So this kind of shows me. Where does this come up really helpful is like if I don't get something done in a day, like let's say I need to move it to tomorrow, I know at a glance on the chart whether or not like I'm already like that's going to be a problem. If it's going to be a problem, then I need to figure out what else to move for that day. That's kind of become my
those
system.
dips your weekends or those dips?
Yes.
Is it all work days?
Yeah, those are Saturdays and Sundays.
Okay.
Because I don't have nearly as many tasks scheduled. And I also, this is all mainly work stuff, plus like other stuff that I'm doing, but like calendar invites for hanging out with friends and stuff don't come into here because I don't really need to know about those things. Like my weekends and stuff are never packed enough where I need to like plan out my tasks like I do for work. It's just a little bit different for me. You know what I mean? Where some of us aren't quite as actively social as the Illingworths are. So anyway, so anyway, that's how I plan stuff out. So that's basically my view of what I do. But the chart is something new. Notion added these chart features recently, and some of the features that they added now track down. So I use a task and a subtask system in my stuff, and these charts can read down into the subtask level and tell me tasks. I will say, Will, the other fun feature I added, and this is important because this ties to what I'm doing with AI, is I now added an importance column in my system. So if it's something like basically every Monday morning, what I do, it's a part of what we actually require our whole team to do. We look at our week and we basically organize things in projects, what we call kind of admin, which is basically anything that's not project related. And then possibilities. And basically what you're doing is you're looking at your week and going, okay, these are the things I must get done this week. I want to get these things done. Possibilities is anything that's like, okay, if I have space, it'd be nice to get this done this week. But like, if I have to move something, like this is what I'm going to move. Like that's going to get moved to another day or another week. Right. So I started adding in a column now where I actually, when I think out ahead in the week, I add in must versus possible in this database. So this is what I like about Notion. I can flex it the way I want in any situation. Okay.
Right.
The cool things that Notion added now, you can like color things based on what you add. So if I select something as possible, it changes it to red. So it's just a really quick tell for me if that thing is a possible item or not as I'm planning out my weeks. And then I can just kind of like easily move, like if this needs to go to another week or something. I'm zoomed in really far, so it's tough to see everything. My normal view is zoomed out. Normally a couple perspectives so that like I can see I can basically see the whole week under here normally.
Right.
In my view. So I zoomed in so you guys can see it a little bit better of what I was seeing. So, and then this table adds it. And I can also like, you can also click on Notion tables. What I like, they added a feature where you can actually click into the charts and it'll open up the data as well if you want to see it there, but I don't like seeing it that way. So that's just my preference. So that's fun. Charts are fun. The other thing, Will, you would appreciate is that there is a chart on the bottom that tells me how many tasks are finished per day.
Wow.
So this tracks per day how many tasks get done and shows you that chat. Now, I will note, I have not filtered these out yet. Some of these are delegated tasks that I'm tracking that like get marked as done. So they're not all me. Though, like, my boss and I go back and forth about whether we should be tracking this type of stuff for delegated because I do have something involved with it. He's actually on the side we should be tracking them. I'm kind of on the side I don't know that it matters. So that 26 is not all me. That's also meetings. My meetings come into my system as well. So that's meetings, tasks, and anything delegated. But so it tracks all that. So that's fun. So I didn't intend for this to happen, but it's fun that it kind of like shows me what needs done. It gets done down here, and then it shows me what's done. It's a nice little flow to the template that I didn't intend to create. So
I like that.
And then Notion has some other charts. You can just create data on your stuff. I organize my tasks in a para method, which I won't go through in detail in this episode because we've talked about it before. But I organize my tasks into areas, processes I manage, and then projects. And so I like to track where my focus is going in those spaces. And so this chart over here tells me where all my projects are committed. And then this is showing me task focus, just in general tasks. Yes, I know that it says 7,979 tasks. That's every task ever.
Oof.
So
Ever or this year?
Actually, that's a great question. I don't know what my filter is on this. 2 rules. It falls under lead area and process. Project type is lead area and process, so it's looking at projects. It does not contain... Actually, yeah, so this is basically... It's almost ever. It's filtering out a handful of projects.
Sure.
And some other things, so it's not like everything. Done focus would be what the focus was on any done task. So 7,868. Give or take. I have a lot of pages. I have a lot of pages in Notion, folks. It's gotten so deep, Will, that I don't actually know what's in my database anymore. In case you were curious, that's just like that's what it's fallen into. Okay, so anyway, that was all that charts, fun stuff. That's some new updates that Notion has added. I think Notion 3.0, what's super cool too, is they've added some features for like managing permissions in tables. I was telling Will this. You can now sync multiple tables into one table, so multiple data sources into one ultimate data source, which is super cool. But 3.0, the coolest thing that they've added, Will, is that they finally gave us fully functioning Notion AI agentic AI tools. So I would like everybody to formally meet R2D2. Okay, because that's where he lives. So
He's
you
got
didn't
a little
see
blue
it.
and white scarf.
Let's do this. Okay, all cozy. It's R2D2. Okay, so Notion has had Notion AI for a while, and I can use it inside pages to edit stuff. I can ask it to do stuff, but it was always kind of limited in exactly what it could do. And now they've added Notion AI Agentic AI, where like you can program different instruction sets for your AI tool to be different kind of like jobs, basically serve as different roles, or just be a general agent that you can use to do a lot of things. And to say I've used this significantly since they released it would be an understatement. Since they released it, I've had way too much fun with this. What's super cool, what I love about this tool is when I open it up in the corner, it automatically reads whatever page I'm on. So like if I open this up, it'll immediately read I'm on my dashboard. So I don't have to tell it context about what page I'm on or what to do. It's immediately reading where I am. And so it'll start, if I ask it to look at something or do something, it'll start immediately looking into that page and any data source is connected to it. So it immediately knows. The other cool thing is you can switch between an auto mode, or it will actually use Claude and GPT-5. So if you're paying for Notion AI, you actually get access to both models inside your Notion. Which is super cool. It has come in a lot of handy for me. You can still attach files. You can still mention things. You can switch sources. Like I can turn on certain integrations. Like, this can connect to Slack now and a bunch of other things. Like it could start searching other databases. It can search Google Drive. It can search a whole bunch of stuff. So it can now access things. And then it can, I can connect other apps to it as well, not just Notion apps. So I currently don't do that because I'm still working on playing with it, but it's super cool. So now I will switch over. They do have like a main AI chatbot page that's not just in a page. I want to use this because it's just a little bit easier to see some things. So I could do this stuff. I can do research. I can attach things. I can add more context. Here you go, Will. It can access my Notion mail now and look at every email that I have if I want it to find email information. Slack, Google Drive, Teams, SharePoint. I think Jira. Isn't that the Jira logo?
Jira, GitHub.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it can access a lot of things, which is kind of
Wow.
crazy. It can analyze PDFs, it can analyze images, it can do a whole bunch of stuff. It's pretty wild, everything that it can do. So, but what I really like is you can now personalize and change it. So this is how I was able to name him R2D2. I give him a nice little name.
Yes.
I gave him
That's
a red and
appropriate.
blue scarf because it's R2D2, though the mustache was also pretty fun. That felt like a fun little thing. But this is what I think is so cool. So, Will, you know how you were using instructions in Dust AI and other AI agent tools to set
Yeah.
up instructions
Yeah.
for your AI agents? So, for context, AI guidance or instructions is basically you're setting some kind of data source page that gives the AI parameters for what it should be. I mean, if you're using Agentic AI, that's one of the things you have to do. Like it's going to be better when you define it that way. I mean, Will, that's what you guys have experienced with Dust, right? Are you still doing that work over it in your situation?
We did move past Dust. We are going to move with a different agentic tool because Dust came up to us as part of a proof of concept, and so we were testing it out with an RFP and stuff like that. We did not select it, unfortunately, and not to say unfortunately. I think all these tools are really good tools. It was a good tool. I don't have a
It
problem
just
with
didn't
it.
meet
but
you guys
we
had
did
some
pick
other
one.
situation you needed. Yeah,
There
so-
were other parameters in the decision making.
Yeah, that's fine. So, but I can set up instructions. So if I go in here, I can create my own style. There's another fun thing. You can actually import other styles people have created from Notion. So like if I wanted him to be like a warm, friendly sidekick, simple and efficient, I could look at other templates. My personal AI agent. I haven't actually looked into what these actually do. Because I haven't set my own instructions yet, but productivity coach, all that stuff. Gen Z apparently is an option. I like that diplomatic is an option by Notion. Just be diplomatic, Notion AI. That would be great. So you can set up these different instruction pages here to kind of define what Notion AI is going to do, which I think is super cool. But as I've learned, Will, you don't actually have to connect these Notion pages to do it. You can actually just tell it to create instructions in your database and use that when you reference that thing. Now, the thing I'm still working on is it's not perfectly reliable, but let me give you a context, okay? So every week, this weekly report I create where I figure out what I'm going to be doing for the week, whether it's priority, admin, project, possibilities, all that fun stuff, right? There's certain parameters to that that I wanted to look at, right? It also lays out my meetings, okay? So I decided to try to see, can Notion AI do that? If I ask it to do a weekly report, can it look at my entire database, find the information? If I give it certain parameters, will it do that? I gave it its parameters. I tested that. It did do it. It created the weekly report. But then I was like, I don't want to have to tell it this every time or like save this prompt. That seems inefficient, right? So how do I get this so that I don't have to like switch instruction pages in the settings that it can do this? So I asked it, could it record all of this as an instruction page inside my second brain resource page and reference it if I ever ask it to do a weekly report? Its answer, Will, was sure thing. I can. And so here's what it created pretty much in 20 minutes. It created this entire instruction page with all of the parameters, including the SQL code it uses to look up and code the report into the page.
Wow.
It came up with rules to reduce errors, subtasks. It even created itself a checklist at the top of the page to ensure that it does it. Right? So R2D2 report pre-flight checklist. That's what it called itself. Which I also think is funny that it called it a pre-flight checklist. Because it kind of feels very Jedi-ish.
Before it gets in a starfighter or something.
Before it jumps in a starfighter. That's its vibe, right? So so all of that's to say, right? If I want it to create this weekly report, let's just go up. I'm gonna go to my quick notes here real quick. And let's just delete out a bunch of these are all our photos from our random episode, Will.
Yep.
I had them in quick notes to transfer them over from my phone. Anyway, okay, so my quick fun fact, quick notes in Notion's great. I created a page just where I put random ideas. I'm not sure where they're going to go yet. But let's say I open up Notion AI. I come into here, open up my little R2D2 friend, and I just say, hey, I need a weekly report for my tasks for this week, starting what was yesterday? 29, right? 9/29 to 10/3, right? That's our Friday.
Yeah.
Make sure to use our instructions. I'm still working on it to not have to say this, but when I did it this morning, it did not use the instructions at first. I told it was wrong, and it said, "Oh, you're right. I didn't use the instructions. I'm sorry." I have resorted to threatening the AI now sometimes.
Yeah, you do what you gotta do.
Because it did not. They have not set up an instruction page yet. That's incorrect. Okay, well, this is doing great.
It's Notion 3.0, but there's gonna be a 3.1. You know.
Let's stop it for a second. Notion AI, that was not great. Yes, we did. Look in second brain for weekly report instructions.
I like that. You cut it off. No. Do better. And here's how you can do better.
And there we go. I found the weekly instructions.
Oh. It says that it viewed it, pulling up its thoughts.
Yep. So it's doing... I like that Notion AI... I don't know if it'll say this. So it's saying preparing right now. Sometimes when it's thinking, it doesn't say thinking, it says noodling, and I think that's the funniest thing. Because like none of the other AI tools I've done have done that.
Noodle.
So it's reading the stuff. I mean, if you've used other AI tools, you've seen it do this type of thing, where it's like it's telling you what it's doing, it's reading the things. Is it as quick as I'd like it to be? Not necessarily, but this has actually saved me a significant time. Like, yes, today I had to create one after being out for a day. That I wasn't planning, and I really needed to get moving in my day, and this created it pretty quickly. It was able to look at it.
Dang.
So, oh, there you go, pondering.
Oh, yeah.
Notion AI doesn't know it's being watched right now. Maybe it would be more efficient if it was.
if it had a little more peer pressure, for instance.
No, granted, I do want to Notion AI's defense, I have probably over, I mean, I don't know where I'm at now, Will, probably like in triple digit thousands of pages in Notion at this point.
Yeah, there's part of me would think too, maybe in the instructions you could like, and it'd probably be about how you organize your materials, but give it something where it only searched stuff that's in the last month. You know what I mean? Like it's right. If it is searching all of your data all the time, it'd be easier if it could just search everything from the last month or from the last week to like give you more accurate information and quicker.
Yeah. Now, it's doing it right now in the chat because it's not entirely sure what to do, I don't think, at this second. Normally, I have a task that's titled Weekly Report, and it just, like, puts it into the page when I do it. Okay. I think because I'm in my quick notes, it's not actually entirely sure what to do right now. So it's just kind of dropping it over here. But I can tell it, put this in this page. And then, in theory, it should drop the entire report and just create it inside Quick Notes. In theory. This is where we'll maybe edits one or two things. Like the downtime we're doing right now for focusing on whether...
Cut some time. That's what Descript is for.
It did change the title of my Quick Notes. I'll do that later.
Whoops.
Might be. There we go. It now is dropping in the weekly report for the information.
Dang.
So these are all my tasks for the week in some form or fashion. Now, I'm still working on refining this because my database it's not built with this in mind originally. So it's like pulling in things. Right. There's some translating I'm doing for tasks where like there might be multiple versions of a task, but they're delegated, you know, like, so like I need to like get it better synced at removing out that information. I have some ideas for how to do that, but generally I would have been looking at my own task database to like pull this report together. This was pretty quick. And so it was pretty easily able to pull things together. It did pull together possibilities like I wanted it to. And I'm trying to see, did it actually pull together meetings like it's supposed to? Yep. It pulled together my meetings for the week. For some reason, it doesn't like my meeting on Friday. It did this last time, and I don't know why. But
I agree. You shouldn't have meetings on Friday.
Maybe it's just actively trying to tell me I shouldn't be doing that. You know, that's the vibe.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is one of the initial spots there that you can use it for. I'm curious, Will, your initial thoughts on that.
Well, if you have a database like you do of so much information, right? A tool like this to just search and access that information better is always going to be useful. But then for it to take action on behalf of that information, like your simple example here is generate me a weekly report. But let's say you need an analysis of the delegated tasks you've done. Like, who were they all delegated to? You could probably ask it.
Yeah, I can ask it.
How many times have I delegated a task to Allie or to Drew or to whomever, right? Mm-hmm. You could get these kinds of like statistical analyses very quickly. And beyond that now, I bet it would help you like, hey, I'm thinking I want to be able to report on this better, but I need like a dashboard to do that. What would that dashboard look like, or help me create it? And I bet it could make that for you. So,
and that's actually a good point. So I've created some stuff now using it, though I will note one thing, Will, that you will also like, is I, out of curiosity the other day, asked it if it could analyze my entire dashboard task project database system, analyze it, and create a system structure and operations manual for how it works. So that I could tell it to reference this.
It reverse engineered it?
It reverse engineered this thing. This is raw. I didn't edit this at all. So it was able to pick up that I was using the para method. It was able to pick up the core components of the system. This is all incredibly correct.
Wow.
Like, this is how my system works. This is the, like, database master hub, the hub that I use that you guys were all just on my dashboard. This is all the filtering that's set in that hub to make it work. It was able to track all of the filtering. It was able to like grab all of this. It caught up the system workflows. It figured out how I update tasks based on update structures that I've done through task pages. It captured my knowledge management system, and it even said, oh, look, you're implementing para. And it broke down how I'm implementing para inside the system. And then it broke down like key features, maintenance, all of the stuff that I have in here. It was able to create an entire breakdown of my system in minutes, which is kind of nuts. This has been helpful. I've had it reference this a few times while changing things and updating things, because it's driven how it does its updates.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. That created that. Now, let's talk about more fun random things, Will, because that would be fun. Okay, so the thing that's really been a game changer is its ability to make things. Okay, so here's a perfect example.
Right.
2 nights ago, I'm a part of a D&D group. Of course, I'm a loser, and I track D&D inside Notion. And
you're a winner, Josh.
We were having a problem with needing to track who was available on what days. And like was a bigger problem. Like, as Will knows, I use Notion to run our game nights. I use a Notion database and forum to run all of it, to track who's available. You know, basically, I send out a form like a month ahead of time. People fill it out. We use that to figure out which day is the best day to do game night for the most people.
Right.
And then we pick game night based on that information. I needed to do something like that for D&D, but here was the problem, okay? To create this, Will, I needed to not have a select that just told me what Saturdays were available in a month. I needed a select option on the form for every day of the month. 30 days, okay? Or
Dang.
Slightly more, depending on the month, okay? That would be a lot of work in Notion to create that. More than I am willing to do for my friends, okay? That is where I break the line,
It's
okay?
too many clicks. It's too many clicks, guys.
I only agreed to this because I was like, you know what? I think I could get Notion AI to make what I want to make. So I went into Notion AI. I started a page. I'm actually wondering if I could pull up the history on it to see if I can find it. Let's see here. Create D&D availability form. Okay, so here we go. So I created this chat. I basically started out with, I need to, create a forum, D&D month. I explained I need to be multiple selects for each month. I gave it a format. I told it I wanted a format where I ended up changing the format later, so you'll see it looks a little bit different. But I wanted a format where it had the day of the week and the date. So it was easy to tell on the form at a glance which day was which when you're going through your calendar and noting things. I needed this to all be in a select, and I needed to create a select for each person. All this fun stuff. I also needed it to be automated, that it would notify me when somebody filled out the form so I could see the information, and I needed it to create charts. So I asked it to do all of this. It had a couple oops moments where it was struggling to update things. Notion 3.0 just came out 2 weeks ago, so I think they're still working out the kinks. But eventually, it set up the availability form inside Notion. Okay, So you have your selects for October, November, and December,
Dang.
with every single day for the month built in with the right days. It even screwed up November. It started November on the wrong day of the week for some reason. I told it did that, and in 30 seconds, it changed all of the dates in the selects to the accurate dates. And immediately changed all of it. It added all of this, and then on top of that, added charts for each month to show us which day had the most signups.
Wow.
So it also built the form for me. It created the form. Remember, Will, last time I told you I was testing this and couldn't make forms? Apparently that's only when the form's already been made. If it's not already been made, it can make the form. And so it built the form. So I was able to create all of this, and then I was like, you know what? I want it in a slightly prettier page that somebody could see the form and then also see at a glance availability at the top so that people can see. Perfect. So this is what got sent to our team, or our group.
Perfect.
2 charts that show you November and October and November, and then the form that they fill out. This took me 25 minutes only because I was still learning how Notion AI was doing things, and I had to kind of guide it along the process.
Play with it, learn it. Jeez.
But that's how quickly it created it. Well, in our game night form, to add a new month column with the Saturdays on it, that doesn't take me that long. Notion AI did it in 15 seconds. It read the entire structure of my database and then added the new fields and changed the filter options.
Sure, here's a new month. No big deal.
Yeah, here's a new month. So it created all of that. That is what is super cool about Notion 3.0. Like the fact that I can get it to just like create fully functional databases, update a whole bunch of data, build in automations, all of that. I know how to do myself, but this would have taken me hours to create simply because I would have had to put all those dates in. This was able to do this in like 30 seconds and create the entire database and system. And it was able to use other forms. I told it to look at Game Night's database to understand the structure first. Right. And so it looked at that and used that to create it inside this page.
And this is what Agentic AI is for, folks. I mean, we can do it to build apps and make integrations between things too, but like the idea of spending an hour on this for yourself or 15 minutes is like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll do it. It can take 15 minutes. Now, that's just an exact, like a generalized statement of time, but like if it took you 3 hours to build it the first time, it's going to take you 10 minutes to use it the next time because you now have this structure. And you can just tell it from the next time you would have built something, be like, hey, use that form we built last time. Now make me a new one.
So those were the cool Notion 3.0 features with Notion AI. There's a lot more that you can do with Notion, but those are some of the fun features that you can use and that I've enjoyed using. So I think it's further evidence to go use Notion. That's just my personal take. I know there's a lot of ways you can do this in apps with like other tools, Google Drive, a whole bunch of other things. Notebook LM is another tool that does some similar things to this. But I think Notion just, as like Will, you've seen, like it's just there's a lot of ability to customize what you want in Notion, and I think Notion AI has just now added 3.0 has added that extra layer of now I actually can use all of this data that I have, resources, everything, to get Notion AI to do things based on what I already have and I exist in there. I actually already asked it for enhancement ideas to my databases, and it provided like I kind of felt attacked. I was hoping for like a list of like 4 things, and it gave me like 38 things, and I was like, okay, Notion.
Savage.
I was like rude, but I think it's cool. I think it's a really cool tool, and I really like what Notion's trying to do, which is I think they're trying to become this. They've seen what AI can do for personal data management and task management and like productivity, and they're leaning into kind of building a tool that allows you to build your own kind of custom, knowledge base, tool base, information base that AI can leverage to do things, and also just be an assistant and help. I've used it plenty of times as well, just to ask questions about projects I've done in the past, or I've had it build reports recently on stuff, on things that I've done. So I think that's super helpful. It's super cool. Yeah. So there you go. Awesome. That's all I got. I know we talk about Notion a lot, so I'm done. We won't have at least
just been another
5 episodes about it.
Episode of the High Notion Tech Podcast. The Notion HiTech Podcast, the High Tech
Something like
Notion, tech. Anyways, thanks, folks, for joining us on this adventure. We'll be back next week for 219 with some more high-tech hijinks. Until then, find us on all the social medias at HiTech Podcast or HiTech Pod, and email us inbox@hitechpod.us if you have any questions, you want to join the podcast, you want to challenge something, you want to see some more, let us know. And you can get over to our website, hitechpod.us, where there's a page for every single episode that we've released and information about all of our affiliates, how to contact us, etc., etc. That's a wrap on another week of the HiTech Podcast, empowering minds,
embracing tech.
Cheers.
Cheers.